I thank the gentleman for yielding, and Mr. Speaker, I always find of interest listening to this debate. You know what's most ironic about this bill? It's about elections. Everybody in this body has an election. But you know what's different? Everyone in this body knows when their next election is going to be held and knows how much time they have to campaign. So much so that we have rules on this floor when we cut off communication months in advance so you can campaign. I listened with interest to the minority whip speak on this floor. His support for something different than this bill does. I wonder if he would have, and if he cared so much about what the NLRB is doing, that if he would apply those exact same rules to his own election. Would he care to not know when it's going to be, and then when it gets called, he's got 11 days to campaign? I think his speech would be different. So why are we asking the rules for us to be different for every other worker across this country? You know, the root of representation is to work for the interest of those you represent. Everyone in the House knows that. And unions as representative bodies should exist for the benefit of the workers. But I don't think anyone disagrees that it's the workers, not the unions, who know what's best for themselves. Workers are the best judge of whether they want to support union political activities or even if they want to join a union at all. Joining a union is a big choice. But to make an informed decision, workers need time to decide what's best for them and their families. And they shouldn't be pressured or rushed. So if unions really care about workers, and if they are confident that their benefits of the unions outweigh the cost, they'll give the workers as much time as they need. That's the irony of the recent decision by the National Labor Relations Board. To allow unions to call rush elections, to ambush employees and employers. Ambush elections don't help workers. Instead, they bully workers to accepting unionization as fast as possible. That's not pro-worker, that's pro-union. And there's a big difference. And what makes this situation worse is that ambush elections will soon be forced on workers, not by an act of Congress, but unelected bureaucrats at the NLRB. That's an affront to the separation of powers that this country was based upon. So here in Congress, Mr. Speaker, we're taking action. As our Senate colleagues have already voted to do, we're going to use the Congressional Review Act, send a resolution straight to the President's desk that blocks anti-workers and anti-business rule. Now, I know the President has already threatened to veto this resolution, but I actually hope he'll change his mind. Because what does the President want to fight for? Does he want to fight for the worker? Does he want to fight for the small business, the jobs? Ambush elections don't help workers. They don't help employers, and they don't help unions. And no public official, not any member of this House, and especially not the President, should ever support rules that allow special interests to strong-arm the hardworking American people. And Mr. Speaker, nobody in this House should support a rule about an election they wouldn't put upon themselves. And I don't know one member of this House that would sit back and say, somebody can call an election and you only have 11 days to campaign. I'd like to hear somebody vote for that on this floor and ask to be held to the same standards they're trying to hold every other worker in this nation. And I yield back.
The gentleman yields back his